Over the years, a lot of people have asked me whether or not I was going to run. They wanted me to run. But I have never been so serious as I am now.
Well, Karen, it looks like the Donald wants to be more than just a celebrity apprentice. He wants to be the real deal.
And Amy, here's an original joke.
Yeah.
You're fired.
Never heard that one.
TopLine starts right now.
Hello and welcome to ABC News TopLine. I'm Amy Walter.
And I'm Karen Travers.
Every day, noon Eastern, we bring you the latest in politics. You can follow us on @AmyEWalter and @KarenTravers. By the way, happy St. Patrick's Day.
Thank you very much.
We both did really well on the green.
I look enough like a leprechaun. I don't need to wear green. Kicking us off right at the top then, walk and chew gum. Nuclear disaster in Japan, continuing unrest in the Middle East, and there's certainly a lot going on in the world today. President Obama is taking some heat. His critics are saying he's not doing or saying enough on these important issues. But Amy, he's making time for NCAA brackets, St. Patrick's Day parties, and he's off to South America this weekend. Is this a fair criticism?
It is true that the president always has a lot on his plate, and so it is unfair to say that he can't do more than one thing at one time. But it is the image of a president jetting off to Latin America on a trip that isn't particularly necessary, right, or immediate, when we have so much going on in the rest of the world.
Sometimes it's just looking like you're on top of everything, even though he is the president. He's obviously doing this.
And I think they have phones on Air Force One, right? Okay. Next up, Oh, Jerusalem. All right, Sarah Palin is the latest 2012 Republican presidential hopeful to land in Israel. Mitt Romney was there in January. Mitt Huckabee goes quite often. And while she's there, she's going to sit down with Benjamin Netanyahu. Again, something that Mitt Romney has done as well. She proves once again, Karen, we just cannot quite figure out what she's doing. This is certainly something you would do if you're running for President of the United States. Go get your bona fides here, foreign bona fides. And yet,
right.
What is she going to take from this?
I
don't know.
You and I have said, if it looks like a candidate and walks like a candidate, it must be a candidate. But in this case, you cannot say that about Sarah Palin at this point. She's certainly walking the walk.
She is. And she's coming, of course, from India.
Right.
Which, again, nice place to go if you're thinking about running for president.
Exactly. Next up, billion-dollar man. President Obama sat down behind closed doors yesterday with the core of his 2012 re-election fundraising team, a team that is certainly going to be key to helping him raise what some say could be a staggering $1 billion. But some of those top fundraisers are going to have to be on the sidelines this cycle because they're ambassadors or because they're senior advisors to the administration, so they can't participate in any campaign activity. That could make it tougher to raise $1 billion. And of course, the economy is not what it was in 2007 or 2008.
That's right. So what the president is trying to do now is to reach out beyond those core group of supporters and go talk to people who, well, supported his opponent last time, going to those bundlers who worked for Hillary Clinton, hoping that maybe they are willing to not just donate to him, but to help, yes, bring a lot of people along. I still think he'll do a pretty okay job of raising money. Good winner.
Billion is a lot for
still a lot of money.
Re-elect,
That's a very good point. All right. And finally, ain't that rich? Well, Donald Trump sat down with Ashley Banfield for 5 hours on his private plane. Why don't we take a look at this? I think the clip itself speaks for itself.
Do you have $600 million to spare?
I have much more than that. Part of the beauty of me is that I'm very rich. So if I need $600 million, I can put up $600 million myself.
Yeah, I mean, just like you, right? If you needed to, you could just put up $600 million if you needed to, or more.
Give him a call for a loan or something.
I think so too.
Just moments ago, we chatted with Tom Coburn up on Capitol Hill. Take a listen.
Joining us now is Senator Tom Coburn, Republican from Oklahoma. Senator Coburn, thank you for joining us today on TopLine. I want to start with Social Security. You've talked a lot about this issue. Obviously, you sat on the President's Debt Commission. We just came out with a poll today, ABC News Washington Post poll, that raises some of the same concerns that you had. According to our polls, 81% of Americans think that Social Security is in crisis, and 67% want major changes to make Social Security solvent. And yet, and this shouldn't surprise you, you can't really get majority support from Americans on any of the possible solutions. So, Senator, my question to you is, can Washington get anything done on this issue, knowing that the public is still so evenly divided, or just they don't see it as anything positive?
Well, responsible leadership would say that you do what's best for the benefactors of Social Security in the long term. And so if you do everything on the basis of polls, you're going to do the wrong thing for the country. And the fact is we don't have the $2.6 trillion that's been stolen from Social Security, and we need to be about fixing it. We need to make sure we take care of the lowest end of the spectrum with a little boost in their benefits, because they're the ones that are suffering the most under it. And we need to take away a little bit on the top end from those that absolutely don't need it. And we can do that. You know, it was announced today we're at an all-time high on life expectancy of 78. So, you know, we've grown about 12 years in terms of life expectancy since Social Security was started. So, yes, I think the answer to your question, we definitely can fix Social Security and do it in a way that people will like the results.
Senator Coburn, today the Senate is going to take up this 3-week continuing resolution to keep the government funded. How are you going to vote on that?
I'm going to vote for it. Look, since 1948, there's only been two times that the Congress has passed a bill that actually cuts spending. Once was in 1995, which caused us to get to the surplus in 2000, and the last was 2 weeks ago. So, you know, it's a rare event in Washington when we actually cut spending, and even though we're borrowing $4 billion a day, this is going to cut $2 billion a week. We're still going in the hole, but anything we can do to go in that direction, we should.
Right. Although there are some of your fellow senators, Republican colleagues, who say you're not going far enough. What do you say to them?
I agree. We're not going near far enough. I mean, there's $350 billion worth of waste, fraud, and duplication in the federal government every year. We should be doing that. But the political realities is that we have a Democratic president that's not going to allow us to do that. You have a Senate that's controlled by the Democrats that are not going to allow us to do that. So I say take what we can get, keep working at it, show that they really don't want to run a responsible government, and in the next election we'll have the votes to really make the cuts.
So how do you do that after you get through this 3 weeks? I mean, the negotiations are already starting on the next one, and everybody's saying we can't keep doing this piecemeal. This is no way to keep funding the government. So how do you do what you just said for the next time they have to have this vote?
Well, first of all, other than the Defense Department, we can keep doing it this way. What you're seeing is a lot of agencies not doing things that aren't, you know, here's the real question. When we're borrowing $4 billion a day, we have to, at some point in time, quit spending money that we don't have on things that we don't absolutely need. And this government is rife with waste, rife with duplication. The General Accounting Office confirmed what I knew in their report, the most visited website GAO has ever had in terms of the duplication in the federal government. So what we do is we talk about it to the American public. You know, this is not a conservative issue. From conservative liberals, they know there's waste in the federal government. They want it cut, and they want it cut a whole lot more than is being cut now. And we can do that without the very smallest number of people being disturbed in terms of the pablum that's coming from Washington.
Senator Coburn, last question for you. New report out today by the Department of Treasury that says that 99% of TARP funds have actually been repaid. There's actually going to be a $20 billion profit. Do you think that your vote for TARP was a good thing? And do you think TARP was good for the country?
Well, I think anytime we're in a position where we're bailing out industries, that's a bad thing. My vote for the TARP was because I looked at the realities of what was getting ready to happen in our country, and an assessment that I believe would have happened is we would have seen a depression far worse than we had in the 30s. Look, the TARP money's not all paid. They're counting the interest that they've earned on it. You still got a large amount from AIG, you still got a large amount from GM that hadn't, and you probably never see the money from Chrysler in terms of the savings. So, and those were all TARP funds. So I don't believe that it, net will probably break even, but it was something that was necessary, and we had to vote on what was presented to us. I would have done it a completely different way, but the fact is, it's done, it's passed, and we got through a very rough period in our country, and we didn't do it the best way, but we did it. And what we need to be doing now is concentrating on how do we stimulate growth and return prosperity to this country.
All right. Well, Senator Coburn, thank you very much. We look forward to talking to you soon.